Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 244 of the High Sensitivity Podcast, and thank you for listening. If it's your first time here, we talk about video game and movie news as we watched or played over the week. My name is Barry, one of your co-hosts that recently got his sea legs, along with his other co-hosts.
Yar, matey, we're back. My name's Craig.
My name is also Craig. Getting my virtual sea legs, pirating it up recently.
Ooh, okay.
See?
All right. Okay.
Yeah, and I just liked Yakuza Pirate so much, I had to get myself in the middle of the ocean. That was the only way to do it. So.
You had to do it. Do it for real.
So with about 2.5 weeks off, there's
Yeah.
a decent amount of news to cover. So let's get into it then. A ton of news, and I guess I'll just go down my line and we'll see what everyone else has to say or got. Digimon is getting its own mobile card game. After the success of Pokemon, Digimon now wants a piece of that digital card pie.
Do people care about Digimon cards?
Oh, there is.
Yeah. Oh, there's a niche.
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
Okay.
these fans are rabid. Like we think Pokemon fans are rabid. Digimon fans are
I just
next
never
level.
got into Digimon, so I don't understand it.
I played one game on the PlayStation, Digimon, and I loved it, but I never got into it after that.
Okay.
I played Digimon Survive. I liked that.
Mm.
We then have a free trip to Hazelight Studios being promised by their director.
So cool. So cool.
2 Chinese streamers, and their names are kind of interesting. It's like E1U M4Y or like Elume, and then Sharkov beating the Laser Hell level in Split Fiction, and you're greeted by a video once you finish it, and it's like, hey, if you're the person that's like streaming this, and everybody can probably see the video if you beat it, but it's one of those things where he like literally says he'll fly you out to take a visit of the studios and see what they're working on next, which I just think is a cool idea.
Super cool.
That is a cool idea, and also just nice to hear him say what they're working on next, because they can keep pumping out this style of game, and they're setting themselves up for Game of the Year every time. So
yeah, I'm excited to get into Split Fiction when I get some more time here. In kind of weird comeback news, Game Informer is coming back. We got, after my very, very angry shutdown of Game Informer. They must have heard me, and whether they bought back their own rights or something like that, the long, what's the word for it? The long quiet Facebook page posted like a really weird video of that shutdown page glitching out, I guess is the word for it. So we're going to find out more this week, and I'm excited to see what it entails.
I am too. I'm excited to see, like, for people like us who have the subscription, like, does it just kind of restart? Like, I'm putting the cart before the horse, but like, I'd be very interested in that bit of news as well. Also, rants work, guys, because Barry had a very, very enthusiastic rant about this, and I think that that's the energy you put into the universe. And it took some time, but it marinated, and now it's quite seasoned.
I would think if it comes back, it's probably not under GameStop, right?
That's all I hope for.
Right.
I hope it's not.
Yeah, just like their own thing.
Yeah. We then have Pokemon Lego sets coming in 2026. Kind of a long overdue collaboration.
Mega Bloks.
Exactly. I have a feeling the reason it took so long is because they had a contract with Mega Bloks or something like that.
Yep.
When are they? Is there an actual like a month, or is it just a year?
Just next year. Yeah.
I imagine it's because of contractual issues.
Yeah, because Mega Bloks just put out a bunch of new ones. Like you can get a full Ash and Pikachu statue, which is pretty cool.
We then have fun Death Stranding 2 trailer, release date, and collector's edition. So there's probably a little bit to get into here. June 21st or 25th, 26th, something like that is the release date.
Yeah. 2 or 3 days earlier if you get the collectors.
Oh, okay.
Which I did.
Oh, nice. I do have to say that statue is very it's one of the cooler statues.
It is.
Hey.
I was one of those people who was trying to decipher what 10 a.m. local time meant, and looking at all the different articles surrounding it. So, but yeah, that statue is cool.
Are we excited for the game?
I'm excited to try it and hope that I stick with it.
Yeah, same here.
I I think that they may have learned, because I think one of my issues with the original one is the wonderful story that Hideo creates every time he makes a game. Was there was so much time frame in between, and for even if you're a semi completionist doing some of the side stuff, it felt like long times between what would inevitably be a 20-minute story cutscene at least. So maybe it's peppered in a lot more to keep you engaged in the story, because he writes a darn good story. But I don't know. I'm hoping that that's what they learned from the last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to try it and excited to play it. Should be an interesting game because it's Hideo Kojima. We then have a little bit of stuff coming out with a video leaking online with Sony and the character Aloy and using AI to voice the character. Ashley Birch then eventually went on a TikTok live feed and just said she's worried about the future for the industry. The SAG-AFTRA is currently strike is currently going on, but it's one of those things where the video was quickly taken down. And is this going to be the future? It's the future of our video games. They're all going to be AI voice recorded. It definitely feels like we're going that way. Just regardless, as much as voice actors want to go on strike, if I don't know, it just feels like this is just what our future looks like. Is we are eventually just going to have no money spent on voice actors and just have an internal engine do it at this point.
Right.
Yeah. Sad.
It is.
Yeah. But it is the future, and we'll see what happens. Sony and Guerrilla Studios said it was not in production. Like, it is just a thing that they did. So it's not anything that Ashley Burst needs to worry about, I guess, yet. But it's one of those things where I guess it was kind of like almost like a test developmental thing that they generated, and they used Aloy because Aloy has a lot of written words in her games. So we then have the Nintendo Store in San Francisco opening up May 15th. Just a little thing for me. We then have Forza will require a Microsoft account.
I just threw that in there.
You just
Yeah.
glossed over it after throwing it in there. Just a little thing for me, and another news.
Forza will require a Microsoft account on PS5. Will people be up in arms like they are about Steam? Let's see. We'll find out.
Ooh, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Kind of surprised by it, I guess. But
Yeah.
We did have God of War's 20th anniversary come up and come around. So we have anniversary skins that came out for God of War Ragnarok. We have plushes. We have shirts. We unfortunately have vinyl.
Yeah, I ain't buying that. Tell me you did, Barry.
Well, no. So I haven't. I'm not going to get the full. I already have Ragnarok on
You don't want
vinyl.
to spend $300 on it?
I may get God of War 3.
Okay.
And that's just the price of a regular vinyl. It's like $42.
Okay.
So God of War 3 I may dabble in, but I am not getting the whole collection. It's not. I already have Ragnarok.
I don't listen to those soundtracks enough to justify $300.
Right. It's more of a collector's thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. It's kind of like my Aloy, my Horizon Forbidden West stuff. It's up here, sitting up here.
Right.
And I do listen to it sometimes, but it's a hefty price for some vinyl, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And lastly, on my end, PS5 Pro is going to be getting FSR 4 support. So if you guys don't know what that means, PlayStation is using a PSSR, their AI upscaler that's upscales images to 4K, is going to be now supported on the PS5 Pro, which is big news for it. It's one of the more advanced AI upscaling sampling techniques that could make their games look crisper. And apparently it will be available on the PS5 Pro in time for the games in 2026.
Cool.
That is cool.
But that is what I had for news.
I just wanted to say, because we kind of, we did go over the God of War stuff, but no remasters, no remakes. Nothing.
Right.
Nothing. I don't know. It just felt kind of very anticlimactic, especially because they were leading with here's a free skin. Nobody wants your free skin.
Right.
Nobody's even playing that game anymore. Come on now. But anyway, yeah, I was kind of bummed about that. The vinyls are cool. I'm not spending that kind of money, but I don't know.
That,
Nothing
that
really jumped out at me.
that felt like a remaster would have been like the last puzzle piece for a
Yeah.
cash cow, which is an anniversary, like 20 years. Like
Yeah.
that's what you do.
Yeah. All right. So I have a couple. Start with a smaller one here. Warhammer Space Marine 3 is in development. Didn't take
Good
long
game.
for that. We'll take that for sure. On lines of the Silent Hill F new trailer, uh,
Let's
Australia
go.
Australia said no. They refused to classify it in Australia,
Mm,
which of course means everybody says, "Oh my god, can't wait to play this game," because they refuse to. I mean, Australia is notoriously strict with their rating system, but still, for them to outright be like, "We're not rating it, we're not classifying it," there's got to be some interesting stuff in there for sure. I know, Craig, you and I are pumped.
Oh, I'm pumped. It
Yeah,
looks like they have a good crew making that, and a lot of the footage um, that they showed, like the extended footage that we saw, it looks very very good. It
yeah,
looks like it's going to be very very good and
yeah,
different for Silent Hill.
yeah. I'm pumped. I'm there day one. So is Barry. We all know that. He
Barry's
is
gonna, yeah, Barry will
ready
have
to
it before
go.
us.
Ultra collector's edition over
He's got
here.
a
Yeah,
he's
right.
Barry's gonna get a review copy. That'll be the first review copy for the
Yep,
stream
Oh
yep.
boy,
or
yeah.
for the
If
podcast.
they want it, if they told me, hey, we'll give you this, I'd do it. I'd take the sacrifice of my mental well being.
I like it. Speaking of paying for collector's editions and all that, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 coming out. The collector's edition, which of course I pre-ordered. Craig, I believe you pre-ordered as well.
Yes.
Also going to be on Game Pass, but I just wanted to kind of touch on a couple things. One, having recently played through 3 and 4, big news was that 4 would be going with the PlayStation 1 version as far as timed runs, whereas if you played it on PlayStation 2 like I did growing up, there was no timed runs in Tony Hawk 4. You just kind of skated around and did different objectives. People are a little upset about that they're going to that, but I don't think it's like a end of the world for me. But the one that I did was kind of a bummer and does kind of have a somewhat happier ending was they did come out and say that Bam Margera was not going to be in this. They were excluding him
Yeah.
from it, even though he is a big part of 3 and 4. That has changed thanks to Mr. Tony Hawk himself.
Hmm.
The story is that he directly called up Activision and said, I need you to put Bam back in the game, to which they replied, we cannot. The game's already finished. And to which Tony said, you're going to put him in. So he is going to be in it. They flew him out to do some face scans and that kind of stuff. It's just kind of nice to see him stand up like that and be like, no, he was a big part of the original games. He deserves to be in there.
Right.
And I don't like to get like too far ahead of myself because of I know I follow closely Bam's journey from the alcoholism and all that. He is on a better path right now, but that could always change. But it's good to see him kind of mending relationships with Tony Hawk and people sticking up for him that way. So that made me excited and can't wait to play that game for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Agreed. It's sick. What is that? July, right? Early July,
Yep.
8th, 7th, something like that.
I think it is if you buy the collectors. I think you can play it then. I think
Right.
11th is on Game Pass or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, super pumped for that. Played
Right.
through both.
I mi-
Go
I
ahead.
missed the first collector's edition, so I'm
So did
excited
I.
for this one. And they had me at signed board by Tony Hawk himself.
Yep.
I don't care how imprinted or how like not actually his signature is. It just feels like a slice of like our childhood. So
It does. The last thing I have is it's actually a quote that I felt like was aimed directly at the three of us, and I thought it was pretty cool. The director of Astrobot came out and said, it's okay to make a small game because players today have a backlog of games that they can't complete. Thank you, sir. Thank you for hearing
yes,
us.
Yeah.
The three of us specifically who have complained about backlogs forever. We all love Astrobot, but it's nice to see somebody stick up and be like, no, you don't need 80-hour games.
yeah.
Assassin's
Is
Creed, you know?
is he like a Is
Yeah.
he a
It's
watcher
technically
listener?
sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can make I mean, I think it took me like 20 hours or so to 100%
Mm-hmm.
Astrobot, but it was a nice brisk 20 hours.
Yeah.
that I thoroughly enjoyed. Give me all those.
Right.
That was the last one I had.
All right. I only have a couple more. Craig, thank you for touching on Silent Hill F. I can't wait for that.
Yep.
I definitely had that as part. Um, the something that I have is the Oblivion remake could be coming sooner than expected. There's a couple of people who are known. One of them being Nate the Hate is mentioning how it could be. I think it was slated for June, but it seems like a flash reveal could happen relatively soon now. I mean, obviously, don't put that on paper, but they it's going to come with a rework system, Unreal Engine 5, all the fixings, but it would be interesting to see Oblivion just kind of come out of nowhere and get announced. A lot of people were projecting that it was going to be announced in the developer direct that happened back in January or February, but it didn't make it there. But I don't know, for people who are waiting for the next Elder Scrolls, like the three of us as well, in 2032 or whenever it's going to come out,
I'm not
it
worried
would be.
about Elder Scrolls.
Barry doesn't care.
I'm worried about them dropping it and me just taking a step into it because I know what will happen to me. So I don't know. Would any of you guys play that when it comes out?
I mean, I'll play it because it'll be on Game Pass.
And
Right.
I'll play it because of the cultural significance of it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Skyrim did not.
No, I
Skyrim was not
bounce
for
off
me.
Skyrim so fast, which is like heresy to say, but
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Right. But that's that. Speaking of God of War, because I know it was talked about earlier, the God of War TV series that's going to be appearing on Amazon. They've already written 2 seasons of it. Also, the showrunner, Ronald D. Moore, attempted to play the games and could not get the hang of it. So it's nice to know that the showrunner has not been able to complete the games
At
for.
least he
Right.
tried.
At least he did try. He mentioned specifically the R1 button and how like he couldn't just
Oh my
get the
god.
hang of it, combined with the fast action packed nature of it. So coming off of like a Druckmann Last of Us series and how closely that resembled it, and having the person who literally, actually the people who made it right on there, and going to a 2 season written already God of War series where the showrunner didn't play one like fully. I don't know. I know we'll still kind of keep our eye on it and see what the trailers look like going forward, but it's not it's wishful thinking. Um, Release date for the Switch 2 is obviously being talked about all over the place, and there's people like trying to connect dots and say that it's going to happen in mid-May. Uh, the funniest thing is the reasoning behind it. They're kind of pairing the fact that Doom, which has a history with Nintendo, is coming out in mid-May. I think the date that is being projected is May 19th. But they also combined it with I think it's Lego sets that are coming out, Mario Kart Lego sets that are coming out in mid-May, and oh my God, what was the third one? Now I'm forgetting it. There's another thing happening in mid-May that they were like, this has to be it. So people are speculating. I know that we're all anxiously awaiting. The only date that we have for sure is that April 2nd, where Nintendo will tell us further stuff. But I thought that it's with something like this, everybody's saying that, my mom coughed on January 2nd, which means it's coming out on May 4th, or whatever. So I
Yep.
thought that was funny. Um, Onimusha 2. This is, I guess, more in Craig and I's news, kind of, but Onimusha 2, the remake that's coming out in May, is going to come out with a hell mode. And in that hell mode, if you are hit once, you are going to die. So it's nice to see them kind of bring new and fresh things, because I'm assuming people, at least the people who played Onimusha, played Samurai's Destiny, the second one. So that and a bunch of new features are going to be coming with that remaster. I don't know if I myself will do hell mode.
Nope.
I mean, as a Dark Souls kind of guy, that's a little bit too much even for me. And then the last thing I have is something funny, a funny article that I found. So there was a very popular movie that came out in the 2000s called Superbad. Seth Rogen, that's another thing that put him on the map, but it also helped out Jonah Hill and Evan Peters. I can't remember the other guy right now, but it helped out many careers, and was very quotable, very popular. In that movie, they were playing a PlayStation game. The PlayStation game itself was called The Getaway Black Monday. They played it a little bit before the scene where they're going to the liquor store to buy like drinks for the party that they're going to. And I found it funny because in a recent article, Seth Rogen shared that Jonah Hill's character, Sony essentially refused for him to be able to play that PlayStation. So in the scene, um, he is not playing it, but it was written or possibly written that he was supposed to be playing it like as well, but Sony actually put their foot down and said that his character in the movie is so reprehensible that they did not want him touching the product. So I thought that that was just a funny thing to kind of end on that, even back then Sony was kind of just crossing its T's and dotting its I's with product placement and how it's portrayed. So
Hmm.
that's all I have.
The funny thing, I read that too. The funny thing is like the PlayStation 2 is already in the movie at that point. You know what I mean? Like, who cares if Seth Rogen's character touched the, I don't know. It's just funny to me that they cared that much.
Yeah, it is.
We'll get into games this week, where for me, I got a little bit of a special portion.
Yeah.
So I do have Monster Hunter Wilds. I have indeed joined the PS5 Pro lifestyle,
Uh-oh.
and I have a bunch of games that I can
Wow.
relay back to you all.
I can't wait for that, Barry. Oh wow. Congrats. I feel like we should be saying congrats.
A round of applause for him. Just a nice little slow clap. Way to spend that
Yes.
money, Barry. Way to
Had to
spend that
spend that
money.
money.
All right. I have completed Split Fiction while we were away. I put a decent amount of time into Yakuza, and then I did start Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Okay. We did have some decent time away, so I have some completions here. I beat Yakuza, so Like a Dragon. I beat Avowed. I technically beat Monster Hunter Wilds if you consider getting through the 3 chapters and the credits roll, and then the high rank content is where I am at. So put it in quotes.
Mhm.
And I started Split Fiction. I also tried this demo for a game called Twisted Tower. So got quite a bunch.
Knocking them out.
Look at us. Everyone's being productive. I
Mm-hmm.
will say, during my sea legs, I didn't play any new Switch games, but I did play a lot of Final Fantasy Theater Rhythm and the Kingdom Hearts Melody game.
Let's
Quite fun.
go.
I enjoyed my time playing music games with the waves crashing onto the boat. So let me do this. All right, so PS5 Pro review.
Let's go.
I've been into it. I've been in the PS5 Pro. I've been digging into it. What I can say for sure is that it really depends on the type of game you're playing, in which what takes advantage of it. You can watch all the videos like online, but sometimes it really is something to see. Like for example, like Spider-Man, with like the very smooth frame rate and all the glorious ray tracing. Yes, it is very good looking. That game definitely got an upgrade. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, that game got an upgrade. It was almost like the PS5 Pro was made for the Rebirth to finally get its due. So I very much enjoyed jumping back into that. Stellar Blade. It is crazy how responsive that game is now with like 120 to 60 frames sometimes. It's a pretty game. It was a pretty game beforehand, still is. Horizon Zero Dawn, which I have come out, sorry, Forbidden West, I have said is probably one of the prettiest games I've ever played. It is still the prettiest game I've ever played. Forbidden West, like, just looks incredible with all the pro stuff on it. Stuff like Monster Hunter Wilds, which hasn't seen a really pro update or anything like that, does look a little better, but it's not eons better, if you will. I did find the setup process quite easy for the PS5 Pro, and like other than that, like I don't regret my purchase. My PlayStation and is like video games are my hobby. Investing in the PlayStation Pro, I did wait for a deal to get it, and I did get it on a deal. So with that being said, like it really is up to you. Like if you have the TV or the monitor to take advantage of this stuff, and your hobby is like once you come home from a grueling 8-hour workday, cooking dinner, and you're ready to relax, Like if gaming is your thing, I do think the PS5 Pro is a pretty, so far even early on, it's a pretty good console to have. Before I get into Monster Hunter Wilds, do you guys have questions about the PS5 Pro?
I'm glad you always do it, because I always look at these like the incremental upgrades that come in the middle of a console cycle, and I'm always like, you're not getting my money. This is stupid. So I'm
Right.
glad you enjoy it, and you think it's worth it. That means a lot, because even the PS4 Pro I did not get, because I
Yeah.
was like, I'm not doing that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'll get a PS5 Pro or not. Maybe not. I don't know. Trying to decide.
I'm in the same boat. I mean, I
Yeah.
normally get half the things I get now are because we influence each other on
Yeah.
this podcast.
Yep.
But it's nice to see you enjoying it. I kind of sometimes wish that I would see my PlayStation have a miss a step or show its age, but they
Yep.
also make a quality console that their consoles last till the next generation. So I don't know. I would probably, if anything, I would do like a trade-in deal. I don't know if that's something you took advantage of, but like I don't know if that's that would probably be the only way that I'd do it. But I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah, like Alan Wake as well. I did jump into that, and I'll probably play the Lighthouse DLC as well. Like the fact that they turned up the ray tracing to max, like it is a very pretty game, like with realistic lighting and everything like that. At that point, it kind of feels like diminishing returns, but for the age old question of like, did it solve my issue of having too many options? It gave me more.
Yeah. I've
It gives you
also,
more options.
from what I've seen too, Assassin's Creed is phenomenal on the PS5 Pro.
That is now what I am like.
Yeah.
I might wait for it to go on like a deal or something like that to get
Mhm.
Shadows, because I do want to play it, but not for what I've been seeing from it so far at full
Right.
price. And I just think that, yeah, apparently, like if you were on console and you're a console gamer and you have a PS5 Pro, that is the best way to play a lot of the games that are coming out right now.
Yep.
So with that being said, Monster Hunter Wilds.
Mm.
I know we talked a bit more about that. How are you in the end game stuff, or how do you feel about the?
I like it. It's nice when the game opens up. Like we talked about the last time we were on this podcast, I forgot that the main game serves as a long tutorial mission. I don't know why I forgot that, but Monster Hunter is never known for its story. It's known for the combat, the competitive nature of recycle, rinse and repeat to get better gear. It's great. It's fantastic. I still haven't run into many technical issues, and when do see faulty stuff, it's normally human error because I'm using the long blade. So you got to make sure your hits count. It's a little bit of kind of medium to slower in terms of how fast you can strike. But I love it. I love the monsters. That's what it is. The locales. That's what you're playing it for, and it's a fantastic experience. Just great to have more Monster Hunter. What about you, Barry?
I've been enjoying it. With Monster Hunter, the more time I put into it, the more I realize, like, surprisingly, this is a coherent story. I know it
Yeah.
was never meant for its story, but they did take a. I can see that they took the time to focus a bit more on said story.
Right.
I really like the Spanish influence on some of these animals. Like, as someone who's Spanish, I can definitely tell the way they spell things. I'm like, oh, that's based off of like a. They have a Chatacabra, and it's like, okay, that's
Yeah.
like the Chupacabra almost. Like you can see very little Spanish influences in some
Right.
of it, like a blazing fire turkey, a chicken. It pretty
Right.
much looks like. Um, it. I like the influences I see. I'm going to continue to play it, and you're right. Like it's just a matter of getting through all the main monsters to get to the tempered monsters, and then your real game starts, and you go from there. And then all of the DLC they plan on coming out with it afterward. But again, like Monster Hunter Wilds, I'm very happy I'm playing it on PS5 Pro because on
Right.
performance, I get a lot more frames and it's a lot. I'm not having any issues with it at all. So, very much enjoying my time with Wilds.
Nice.
All right, talk about split fiction. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about Yakuza real quick? Since I mean, you beat
Yeah.
it, right? And
Right.
we talked about it a little bit before, but just to give you an idea here, I think I hit I think I hit the 18-hour mark
Okay.
yesterday. So I could probably be pretty much done with the game, but I'm still on chapter 2 because I never left Hawaii.
Uh,
I literally cleared out everything. I don't know why. I was just like, I was having fun zoning out and like doing all the side missions, getting all the crew members, doing all the mini games. I just got like caught up in it and I just cleared it out. I haven't even done a like the Pirate Royale yet.
oh wow.
The
Okay. Yeah.
Coliseum, have not even done it yet. But I feel like now I'm so overpowered. You know what I mean? Like I've bought so many upgrades. I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna breeze through this now. But now I'm like, all right, now I can go in and actually play the game. Um, I don't know. I might end up like platinuming it since I put this much time in already.
Yeah, you might as well finish it off.
Hmm.
You could honestly finish the story, I think, in an additional. I think the chapters take like 3 hours after
Okay.
chapter two themselves.
Hmm.
You actually mentioned one of the things that I have an issue with the game, and it's like one of the few things I have an issue with being overpowered relatively early. So
Yeah.
because they dump you in Hawaii so early, there's also some pirate upgrades that you can purchase relatively early from Julie Works.
Hmm.
And I had the lasers, like there's like super lasers that
Yep.
are purple instead of blue. I had those on my ship and I in chapter 2. And I've never had an issue with a pirate battle the whole time. And I think that that was one of the mistakes that they quote unquote made because I was way too overpowered with my ship. So those pivotal moments where the game actually puts a challenge in front of you, because you do have to like go up the ranks at certain points. You have to kind of pop back into that pirate coliseum and do a little stuff with that in order to progress the story.
Hmm.
I was so overpowered, man. And even the battling's not. I like the final boss. My wife watched me play it, and she was like, "Are you sure this is the final boss?" I was like, "Yes." I was like, "This is most definitely." And it just that's the only issue I have with the game is it wasn't challenging, but I
Yeah.
guess we never really asked those games to be.
No,
So,
they're never that. I mean, the originals were tough.
right.
So maybe that's what we're expecting, but I get a little bit of enjoyment from like spending extra time to make my guy so overpowered. I do the same thing in RPGs.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I just enjoy
It's
it.
it's I love the locations. I love they don't do too much in terms of like putting you in too many different spaces to make you tired of the game, and
Yep.
it's a pretty interesting closing that you go through as well. So I thought that story characters it's a little more corny than what they normally do, but that's like the appeal of it because I mean you're a pirate for gosh sakes.
Yeah.
And so I enjoyed it. I love the game. I don't know where it's going to sit in my top 10 because I mean look at all the games that are coming out,
Yep.
but I did like Infinite Wealth more,
Okay.
but I did appreciate this nice condensed 20. I think I finished 21 and a half to 22 hours. I think that's where I finished.
Okay.
So,
I think I'm I think you're right. I think Infinite Wealth is the better story, but I think I'm having more fun with this game than I did with Infinite Wealth. Like my desire to play this game is much higher. Like there was times where Infinite Wealth where I was just like I don't want to play it right now. There's just I know as soon as I go in there's going to be like 15 side things. I'm just going to whereas with Pirate I was just like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go do this and then I'm going to spend the next 4 hours just doing the most meaningless things and doing these side games and doing the delivery service so I can get the stuff like I don't know, I just having it's just dumb fun. I don't know if it ends up in top 10. We'll see when I finish it. But I am having it's a good filler for right now, I think.
most definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so Split Fiction. We can talk about
Yes.
Split Fiction. Um I'm going to say now that I think this will probably end up in my top 10 for sure. And it's being pushed up by the fact that it's the first game that I beat with my daughter. Right. Like, and that was a
Ooh,
big
yeah.
thing because It Takes Two I played with my wife this time around because like It Takes Two was fun, but like I got so heated playing that game because
Mhm.
like my standards and my wife's standards of video gaming are not the same. So I was just like, let me play with my daughter. And like she was the one literally asking me every single night, like, hey, can we play? Can we play? So we played it every night for like a week and a half to get through the whole thing.
Love it.
Um it's the story is incredible. It allows you to do so many different things. Like each level is completely different. Those side stories that you get are all insanely fun. Um, and the ending, the last boss battle, the whole ending level is incredible. It's not anything I've seen done before in video games. And like we were both literally playing and be like, dang, like that is insane what they pulled off. Um, it's going to be in like my moments at the end of the
Mm.
year for sure. It was a perfect way to end it. It was just done so well. So the game's absolutely incredible. It's worth, even if you're like, I don't have anybody to play with, it's worth finding somebody or just play it online with a random. You can do that too. But the fact that you could just tell one of your friends, like, hey, you don't even have to buy it. I'll buy it. You just download it. You can use the friend pass, makes it so much easier. Yeah, incredible. So far this year, it's probably the best game I've played.
Wonderful.
Right. I
Easily.
haven't I haven't finished it, and it's that or Wilds. That's my best game of the year thus far. It's going to be in my top 10. I can already tell, and I we're not even halfway through it. My wife and I, we
Okay.
loved it. You mentioned moments. I think the hot dog moment's going to be in my moments. Just
Yeah.
that whole section.
Yep.
But it's great. It's great, and it's I don't know. It's the combination of fast paced, but it's a very forgiving game. I do like that when you die, they're just kind of like, here you go,
Yep.
like right where you were, you know. And we got through, I think, one or two bosses, and they weren't too tough. You can kind of get the idea of like how you should be working together. It's just one of their classic games, and they know what they're doing. And I just love that story. And you're going back and forth in between, you know, both of the writers' written works. You know, and I even thought it was cool that they added some of the works that even the writers forgot they wrote.
Yeah.
So that's how they are explaining how many levels or different types of levels you're going into. It's not just their published works or what they're trying to publish. It's like what they wrote in 8th grade, what they wrote here, you know, what they wrote as a kid in crayon, you know. So it's a it's a special game
Yeah,
for sure.
it allows them to like play with different gaming types the exact same way that like Nier Automata did, right? Like
Yeah.
they'll just switch in,
Ooh.
like they can switch into like a side scroller shooter or
This is the next Near Automata. I
it's
knew it.
pretty close,
Yeah,
honestly.
it is.
And like there's stuff that like hit me, like there's like to me it's those side ones where the game really shines and you don't even have to do them, but like there's side missions. There's one that's completely hand drawn that's incredible. There's one that's like a like snowboarding, like an SSX. There's like just everything. Just every time you go into one of those, we were playing it being like, "Oh man, I can't wait to see what the next one looks like."
I'm with you. I'm
Yeah.
with you. After the first one, I was worried we were gonna miss them. So I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
let's just check here
Yep.
real quick just
Yeah,
to make
you
sure.
literally check everywhere because you don't wanna miss them, but the good thing is I noticed is if you start walking, they'll say something being
Right.
like, "Hey, there was one back there, but if you don't wanna do it, it's fine." I appreciated that being because we would be like, "Oh, hold on, let's go back. We gotta go find that." But yeah, that's just an absolutely incredible game.
Love it.
Uh, do it transition from that into Assassin's Creed. Let's do it, baby. Here's the deal. First
Uh,
and foremost, when you first start the game, there's a option for immersion mode. You're going to want to go ahead and turn that on because my God, is the English voice acting awful, absolutely terrible. So if you turn on immersion mode, it switches to whatever the language would be in that area. So it's like Japanese, Portuguese, that kind of stuff is kind of littered throughout. Um, if you do that, my experience became so much better because I started off in English and I was like, this is atrocious, which is weird for an Assassin's Creed game because they're usually done pretty well. But these ones were not. Um, I actually really enjoy the story. I like what it is. It can be boiled down to everything this game is doing. Ghost of Tsushima has done better, but that
Mhm.
doesn't mean that this is a bad game. It just means that the better version is to go play a game that's a couple years old at this point. Um, I I don't know. Like it's hard to say. I don't hate it. Am I gonna complete it? I don't know. I don't know. To be fair, I just did the Ubisoft Plus for a month because I was like, I can pay $18 and I either beat it in a month or I stop playing it and I cancel it anyway. Much more attainable than spending 70 to don't spend $70 on this game, please.
Mhm.
Um, but it does look extremely pretty. Even running on my Series X looks incredible. So I'm imagining on PS5 Pro, it's probably phenomenal. But it runs well. It's Assassin's Creed game. I don't know. There's not too much else to say about it. Is it going to save Assassin's Creed? I don't think so. I really don't. I think this is it. I don't know. And
I mean, it's not looking too good for Ubisoft. So
no.
like,
And also, for the love of God, don't do. They pulled a Call of Duty when you start the game. It gives you like the intro movie, and then it cuts to like an Animus main menu, but it's all the characters from the other Assassin's Creed games that you can like scroll through. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, but it's just to launch those games. It's a centralized launcher.
Oh,
And I was like, why are we
mm,
doing what Call of Duty did?
oh, dang.
Don't do
man,
that. You know what I mean?
nah,
Like that's just I hate that so much. Cuz I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like it's each character, but of course, they list all the characters, but they don't have Ezio at all. None of the original
Hmm.
Assassin's Creed characters. It's like the Vikings and you know what I mean, and Odyssey and all those guys. I'm like, you totally forgot about the originals. And
right.
just threw these maybe because you can't buy them. That's probably what they're thinking. I don't
Yeah.
know. But yeah, that whole main menu screen, I was like, this is bad. Don't do
Yeah.
that. Don't do
That is,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. Barry, if you do end up getting it, or if you get it on like a sale, I'm interested to see what you think because you played all the way through Valhalla.
I did, yeah. I did. I never did play after the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
My only ever issue is like so much now they want to be like looters, like finding gear all of the
Still.
time, and I'm just
Right.
Yep.
and
Mm-hmm.
that's just I just don't like that type of game anymore.
Me neither.
What I am excited for, and like I hate to say it, but I'm probably going to play as Naue for most of the game because that
Yes.
is traditional Assassin's Creed.
She's
Like
much better.
I get why they put what is his name? It's not Yoshinobu, is it? Oh
Oh,
god.
I
it's
already
escaping
forgot.
me.
And to be fair, when you start the game, you play as him for like 15 minutes. You don't go back to him for hours.
Yeah.
You strictly play as her for a long time, and then they open it up to be like, you can play as whoever you want now. And at that point, you're like, I don't even want to play as him because his
Right.
play style is not great.
I
Not
heard he's
great.
I heard he's broken, isn't he? Like,
He's
isn't it very easy to win as him?
It's super easy. He's super slow. She's great because like she
That's
does like
Assassin's Creed, yeah.
yeah, it's Assassin's Creed. You're like doing stuff. You can hold one of the buttons and she'll do like parkour moves while she's running, which I think was cool. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. She's super fast climbing up things. She has like a hook, kind of like a Sekiro hook to swing
Mhm.
around and get to different places. So she's got all the cool stuff. And he's just like, I'm a big samurai.
Yeah, I heard he's a tank. I heard he's a
He's a
tank.
tank for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't get to play as him for a long time.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. But that's it.
Barry, are you good with all your
Yeah.
games?
Tell me about Avowed.
Okay.
Yeah.
What can I say? Game of
Surprised
the.
you
No,
beat
I'm
it,
just
but
playing.
good on you, yeah.
You
I'm
finished it.
surprised I beat it. I don't know what this is. I finished it and I'm like, why did I finish this? It's not that the game is bad. It's just by the end of the game, I couldn't tell you why. Like if you sat me down and you said, tell me why I should play this game. I don't know.
Game of
It's
the year.
We got Craig like tied up to a chair. Both me and Craig are like with a
Yeah.
flashlight. Why'd you play Avowed, huh?
it's just like I
Tell us
don't
why
know.
you did
Why'd
it.
you beat it? Why'd you keep playing it?
And like, to be honest, it sounds very I don't know if it's shallow or it makes me sound less of a gamer, but I started out as a battle mage. Then I moved to guns because the guns are actually surprisingly very fulfilling in the game, killing things with. So I started out with like they have like handguns and they have like different affinities. I found this like thunder one in the first area that like took me halfway through the game. And then I found the Aquabus or whatever. It's essentially just like kind of like a sniper rifle with like shotgun power to it. It's kind of like a musket almost. And I found one that was like really powerful, and I just loved killing things with it. That was the game for me, guys. I enjoyed it. It's like I really, really enjoyed that particular portion only. The story is not bad. It's a faraway land. It's being siphoned by this vile plague that turns people crazy, turns animals crazy. You got to figure out why it's doing that. There are 4 areas, nice and simple. Each area has its own subplots and bad things going on in there. Those were interesting enough, but I can't recommend the game. But I beat it. That's all I got. I beat it. I got to the credits. I got to the 4th area and said, you know what, forget all the side quests and just kind of powered through it just because I had put the time into it. And that's all I got.
Are you
The-
gonna
It,
put it on your list this year? Do you
It's
think?
it'll be somewhere, but like I don't
Okay.
know. I'm in.
Wanna know
I
what's
don't.
crazy? I feel like, and count this up as my daily like saying this game, but Avowed is yours and my Scarlet Nexus.
Yeah, you know what? That's fair.
Like Scarlet Nexus tickled my brain in a weird way where I just really enjoyed playing it. And I at least say I enjoyed it. You on the other hand say
You
like
I don't know.
enjoyed
you
it.
don't know
I
like
don't know
it
what
at
I
least
did.
tickled your brain. It
Yeah.
your
Right.
brain has been satisfied.
And
Right.
that's Pirate Yakuza for me right now. Like just
Yeah.
doing mindless, stupid things and karaoke. I'm just like, yeah, scratching my brain.
Right. It's if it had come out at any time other time of the year without a really heavy because like the Pass library is going to be getting heavier now.
Yep.
I think it came out at the right time. I think I had because I was playing it on my computer a lot while I was watching TV with my wife while she was doing playing her games. So I think that's what attributed to it, but it came out at the right time of year. So that's Avowed. Play it or don't play it. I don't know if your life will change or not if you do, but I can't recommend it. But I could say that I did beat it. What I will recommend keeping on your radar though is Twisted Tower. Twisted Tower has a demo out. I think you should try it. It's a BioShock. It's heavily inspired by BioShock, created by a gentleman who not only was heavily influenced by it, but decided to create a game that is similar. Twisted Tower is exactly what it sounds like. Even the intro is similar to BioShock. You pull up to this large tower in a boat with a similar rocking motion as to the intro to BioShock itself, and the lighthouse scene. And it's just progressing through the tower, up floors. There's puzzles. There's creepy enemies that you fight, kind of clowns and all these different things. But it's BioShock, man. It just is. It's how it
Cool.
feels when you're shooting, when you're traveling, and it's just the right kind of medium budgeted game that I think could scratch anybody's itch who is waiting for either BioShock, um, Judas, that other weird one that is probably coming out where you can like adjust time. We're all kind of waiting for some type of game like that, and I think that this is the one. So I would say keep it on your radar. Watch a trailer, play the demo. It's free on Steam. Both my wife and I played it, and it gives you a good 2 hours of gameplay. But it's pretty good.
Yeah, it looks cool. I'm looking at it now. I'm like, this is very BioShock.
But that's it for me.
All right, let's get into movies and TV shows for the week. Where because I was stranded at sea, I didn't really have Wi-Fi, so I did download some shows I've been meaning to watch, and I have finished Dune Prophecy, and also I'm all caught up on Harley Quinn season 5 on HBO Max.
Okay. I still have my regular weekly TV shows, but none of them I think ended. So I
Yeah.
don't really. I'm just kind of waiting for those. I did watch Last Breath and Cleaner.
All right. I'm also in the middle of some shows, Yellow Jackets and some other ones. I wanted to touch briefly on White Lotus
Mhm.
because my wife and I powered through season 1 and 2 and are now all caught up on 3. We ravaged those episodes. Like it was like a week and we were good. And then I saw Presence. Did I talk about Presence last week when we were on, or the 2 weeks ago?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so my wife and I watched Presence, and we also watched Companion, and those would be the ones that I have.
Okay,
When do you want to take the floor first? I'll let you.
go Craig.
All right, White Lotus, watch it.
Love White
Watch
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Watch it. So, I don't know how often I say this on here, but I am a big anthology person. It is why I like American Horror Stories. It's why I watch stupid movies like the ABCs of Death, which is exactly what it sounds like. They go through the alphabet, and there is a 5 to 10 minute short scene with each letter, and somebody or dies for some reason. It's like I just realized that that's the kind of person I am. And White Lotus mm, takes place in very extravagant White Lotus hotels all across the world. There is a rich base that goes to these hotels either for spiritual enlightenment, cleansing, break from work, take your families, whatever. In the beginning of the show, they always show at least one person in a murder scene. And then they take you through a week of the inhabitants at the hotel, the people staying at the hotel, and you go through as to how you end up at the scene that you witnessed in the beginning. It is a recipe for amazing. And I forget, is the first one in Hawaii?
Yeah, because the second one's in Italy.
Second one's in Italy, and the third one now is in Thailand, and that's the current season. And the other thing that I want to touch on, besides the colorful cast of characters that they have, the wonderful storytelling that they do, the cinematography and the representation of the area and its inhabitants. I think they did a fantastic job of showing you what Hawaii looks like. Um, I think they did an even better job of touching on Italian culture.
Yep.
They had, I don't know, it's the way they shoot certain things in the second season in Italy. They had a bunch of different um, artistic placements, and they take you. It mainly takes place in the hotel, but there's definitely shots that take you outside of it. But even in this one in Thailand, it's a very good representation, I think, of the country, or at least to get a glimpse of what it would be in like. Even though they're going there to vacation, I think they do a good job of representing each location, and it the population there, the culture, all of that. So I think y'all should watch it. You could pick a season. I love shows where you could just pick a season, start season 2, go back to season 1 if you want. I don't know. There's a couple of stories that take place throughout, but I recommend that show. It's on Max, and it's definitely one of the Max shows on there right now. If I can make a bad
Yeah,
joke.
stop. Yeah.
Ew.
Nah, I didn't miss that.
I'll just power through the other two because
Yeah.
Craig talked about them already. Presence. What? I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. I wanted to like it.
Did
I
you look
really did.
up? Did you look up the meaning?
Uh, yeah, we watched a couple of YouTubers talk about it and break it down, and I was a little bit more happy with it than my wife was, but
Okay.
we shouldn't have to have somebody break it down for us at the end of a movie.
Yep.
I wish the concept was executed properly. Who doesn't want to see that in the eyes of of the presence that is actually inhabiting it? The family story was interesting. You know, you could tell that the mom was in some stuff. The dad was actually a pretty good dad. He was probably
Yeah.
the best part. His fathering was probably the best part of the whole movie. Um, Not good sibling relationship, but you know, it changes as the movie goes on, kind of. Uh, I don't know. Watch it if it's free. Uh, I think that in a violent nature did a better job, even though it's a very polarizing movie. I thought that did a better job of what if I was in the eyes of somebody other than the protagonist type of thing. If we're going to talk about that type of genre, so Presence, not really my thing, but Companion, probably it's definitely going to be in top 10.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Um, I recommend that people watch this movie. I was surprised. I don't know why I was surprised that I was going to like it as much as I did. Jack Quaid brought the exact Jack Quaid from The Boys right into this movie. It's that humor, exactly. And he was one of my favorite parts of the movie. I like Sophie Thatcher because we're knee deep into Yellow Jackets right now, and she's just blowing up everywhere. So it was a good combination of those two. Their dynamic was interesting. There was a small twist in there that kind of kept you going. And I don't know, it wasn't boring. Not a minute of it was boring. And it was a different thing. You know, we're sitting in this time frame where we have Megan movies and we have all of these kind of like automatrons. What's the one that came out with
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox?
Yeah, that one was
Yeah,
terrible.
I know what you're talking about, but
Yeah.
I do not know, and I can look it up.
yeah.
Really
We're
take a minute.
we're kind of in this automatron thing,
Yep. The
and
AI. Yeah.
the AI
Yeah.
and this one hit.
Subservience.
Subservience.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. This one hit. This is the one
Mhm.
combination of great humor with creepiness. Anybody can watch it. There's not a jump scare in sight. There's a little bit of a goriness to it, kinda. That's really kind of the most you're gonna get out of this, and I think it's a well-rounded movie. I think that's what I want to say. Very well-rounded movie, and I think it's gonna end up somewhere in my top 10.
Same. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of movies left to come out, so we'll see. But for now, it's in there. Yeah. What else we got?
So you talked about Max, so I'll go a little bit go into Max. What I really can't explain it, but like what I like about Harley Quinn is one, Kaylee Coco, like she just gives it her all every time I hear her play as Harley Quinn. So I really enjoy, like, while Margot Robbie is kind of what a lot of people consider to be the definition of like a good Harley Quinn. I just think Kaylee Coco's voice really lends itself well to being this really over the top Harley Quinn. What I continue to like about this is like so often I could just continue to see these superhero movies like take themselves seriously, and this newest season with the introduction of Brainiac, it's it's just like it still continues to be this lighthearted, fun, not take itself seriously like hero thing. Like, you have you have certain characters coming back to life thanks to Talia al Ghul stuff. You, there is just so much fun to have. Like Brainiac's this really weird dude where they kind of go into like more or less Brainiac's home and how they're just robots and data transferring stuff, and how their version of sex is them transferring files together. Like like it doesn't take itself seriously, and I just think it's refreshing considering we're about to get James Gunn's Superman, which we know is like, I feel like it's harder to do funnier in that than it is in Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, I feel like a lot of the new superhero and DC stuff that will be coming out is going to take itself so seriously, and it just feels like the DC animated ground, whether it's Harley Quinn or Creature Commando, is like this just fun, not take yourself seriously, and make fun of itself, sort of, and that's what I like the DC is doing, because when it comes to Marvel, everything's serious, at least in my eyes.
Mhm.
So just keep that in mind. And I get like fanboyish things and stuff like that, but I don't know. I just really enjoy. I really enjoy these shows just because they don't take themselves seriously. I watch this every. I watch like 2 or 3 episodes every night before I went to bed, and it's just like these are just nice, lighthearted. Don't take yourself too seriously. Comedy slash action in some ways.
Yeah.
We then have Dude Prophecy, which
Mm.
is
Super
kind of this.
serious.
Yeah, like it is the opposite of the spectrum. I just find Dune's world so fascinating, and we finally get some answers to the like the sisterhood, the ladies in black that do all of the not the truth sensing, and some of them have the voice command thing, but you get a pretty long prequel episode which takes a while to get going, and then I finally get Travis Himmel's character, in which he's kind of like this messiah of doom for them. I don't know why he likes playing these roles. He did the same for it in Wolf Among Us, and that's the vibes I get from Dune Prophecy. I loved Wolf Among Us. It's another one of those sci-fi shows that I just have no idea what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
Dune, I kind of have a preface of what's going on, so I'm understanding it a bit more. And with that being said, I just enjoy. I understand a lot of people say it's slow, but to me, this is kind of like a Dune Game of Thrones, where the Sisterhood is trying to put themselves in power in before this before Travis Himmel characters comes in and destroys everything that they've been working for, and he's just like this weird psycho that you really can't like all you really know, and all I know so far is he's been given powers by the Sand Snake. He is not the Lisan Al Gaib. Let me get that straight.
Mm.
But I don't know. I enjoy it. It's just it gives me very subtle Game of Thrones vibes, which to me I kind of want before we jump into more Game of Thrones stuff with House of Dragons and all the spin-offs. And I don't know, I feel like this is like a fun pre-show to watch before Last of Us season 2 comes out later in April, I believe. So,
Can't wait.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, just 2 movies. I didn't really watch that much. I've been watching so much TV. It's like crazy. You got like Reacher and
The
Daredevil.
Pit.
Yeah, The Pit and Daredevil and I don't even know what else. There's other things, Yellow Jackets. But anyway, so Last Breath is Woody Harrelson and Simu Lee. They are divers. It's kind of I don't know if it's based on a true story or not. Movie like flew by for me. It felt like it was extremely quick. They're going down way down in the water to fix something, and then there's waves up top and the boat gets moved and one of the guys gets disconnected and he's just down there out of oxygen. They have to go save him. It was really good though. It gets right to the point, get you right into the action, and before you know it, it's over. And I can kind of respect that sometimes in a movie where it's just like boom, boom, boom. All right, cool. We're out of here. Credits. But yeah, as far as entertaining, I think it's definitely worth a watch. That's like, I try to think of other things to say, but that's literally the movie. They go down and then he gets rescued. Cleaner. I don't even know. Like, how do you explain that?
I don't know.
Cleaner. I can give a little bit more about Cleaner. Daisy Ridley has been gone for a minute. I feel like I haven't seen her in a while, and I enjoy Daisy Ridley. Easiest way to put it is female Die Hard. I think is probably the best way to do it. She's a window cleaner for this gigantic high rise. And as she's cleaning windows, people come in during a party and kind of take over their hostages. It's exactly like Die Hard. And she ends up becoming the unwilling hero, right? We've seen it a million times. I wouldn't say it's gonna like blow you away. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was entertaining for the hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. Will I watch it again? Maybe. I don't know. Probably not. Let's be honest. But for a one and done, if it's like, I would not pay to watch it, but if it's streaming somewhere in a month or two or in a week or two, check it out. That's probably the best way to put it.
Is it this is really the only question I have about it. Is it like she's not a cleaner with like a past as
Oh, she has a past.
Okay. I was
yeah. I mean, she has to, right? Just like John McClane's a cop. She was a former military.
Got it.
There you go.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Got it.
Always in these movies, always they have a history.
Past.
Yeah, she's got
she has a past.
a dark past.
They all past.
But I just enjoyed seeing her because I feel like I have not seen her in years since Star Wars, really. And she's great.
She's a good actress. It's just too bad that those Star Wars movies got drugged into the mud.
They did. Yeah.
And
she did
I don't
well.
think that's really any fault of her own.
No.
But just like no fault of our own here, it's time to end the podcast. So I appreciate everyone for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed a little 2-week break. I know it sounds like we all did. Sounds like we all got some stuff done. Got a game or two off of our backlogs while we were at it. So I want to thank everyone for their support. Please make sure if you're listening to your podcast platform of choice that you are leaving a review, liking it, sharing it with a friend or on your social media if you feel so inclined. If you're on YouTube, please make sure to like, subscribe, comment below. With all the Switch rumors, I'd love to hear what people are guessing what the Switch 2 is going to be like and how it's going to work. And maybe what games we're going to see with it. That's not a bad idea with the Doom Dark Ages thing coming out as well. So we'll keep that in mind. And I hope you keep this podcast in mind over the week. And we'll see you guys next time. Have a good week, guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.
See ya.